Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like.
Right, Chris.
All right, welcome along. Good evening. Welcome along to Sloppy Seconds. It's the second show of the evening, you see. I told my ex-wife I could do it. It is, because if you missed it earlier, chat with Mark, the ex-Premier League referee, Mark Halsey. Very good chat we had with him earlier, so do pick that up on the channel. Welcome along. It's the newbies show. Yes, we've got, well, not so much newbies as old guys that won't go away and keep coming back again. We are got Mr. Daw. He's in from some team in the East Midlands. Derby, is it? Something like that. And you may have noticed that actually, it's Nottingham Forest. I put them on the end of the introduction, almost like an afterthought, really. But there we go. I've got Stephen, who's representing Fulham, and Craig. Brilliant to have him back from Bournemouth. And I ain't showing any favouritism, but they are only sort of 10 minutes down the road from me, so I guess I am really. It's Leicester Till I Die. Thanks for watching. If you are watching on YouTube, do what it says there, subscribe, smash the likes, and set that notification bell. This is...
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Okay, so let's bring them in. We'll start... Well, like I say, I don't have favourites, but hello, Craig.
Hello, Chris. Pleased to be on here and delighted to be back in the Premier League. We're really looking forward to it. And it promises to be an exciting season. And fingers crossed we can keep ourselves above that dreaded line.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. I mean, you had a good go last time you came up. I think you came up the season after us, didn't you? And
we certainly did, yeah. Our first season in the Premier League was the season that you actually won it.
As soon as you mentioned it, I wasn't going to, of course. Yeah. But you brought it up, so
yeah.
But no, in fairness with Bournemouth, I mean, I came down here about 15 odd years ago, and I can remember your players outside the not the Bic, what's the other one?
Winter Gardens,
was it? Collection money in buckets. So I kind of lived the story, and it was a shame because I don't think you got the credit you deserve, because that season was the season. I say that obviously everyone was talking about us, but that maybe took some of the pressure off you.
Yeah, it certainly did. And of course, we was on minus 17 back in 2008. So we've had, a number of scares in the past. Winter Gardens, actually thinking about it, was a little bit before that. Minus 17 season, we started off with Kevin Bond, Jimmy Quinn then coming. Jimmy Quinn was a complete mess, got beat by Blythe Spartans of all teams. And then Eddie come in. And to be honest, Eddie was the last hope really for us, because he was effectively what you would say is the cheap option at the time. but he managed to keep us above the line. He brought back in Steve Fletcher, amongst others. Of course, Fletcher scored that wonderful goal against Grimsby. Got promoted the following season. Eddie went to Burnley, come back, and continued the great work. And it's a story that, I wonder will ever be repeated again. And it's a proud story. Any Leicester fans?
Well, I lived it with you. Do you know what I mean? Having been down here. And good evening to Stephen from Fulham. Oh, sorry, I'm very rude of me there, Craig. Tell everybody where you're from. The links are below on the YouTube account. But tell everybody where you're from.
So I live in Poole, nice area of the world, as you probably know.
Some very nice people live in Poole, I believe.
Yep, certainly are. And what is great about it is it's such a community club. And
I mean, your actual socials. How do people find you?
So my socials are Up the Cherries in all departments, UTC IAD. You can find the channel on YouTube. We've had Harry Redknapp, Effin a Cuckoo. We've had Fletch. We've had Steve Cook, who, of course, Forest fans will know. And Mr. Dora will say everything about, I'm sure, as well, from their perspective. But yeah. And my Twitter handle is Craig Beasley 85. Beasley with a Z. It's funny spelling.
Stephen, welcome along from Fulham. Welcome back. People sort of are classing you as a kind of like a Norwich, but you had a fair few years in the Premier League at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, I think that's a little harsh. I mean, just before we go into that, I think I was going to say to Chris, I said this season certainly is going to be exciting, but not as exciting as last season, I feel, given we're probably going to be sort of lower reaches to possibly mid-table at the most, sort of if things go well. But hey, it's going to be exciting at different ends of the pitch for sure. But yeah, sort of going back to what you're saying, Chris, just with the I think people forget about that. I mean, we were mainstays in the Premier League for quite a few years. And let's remember, this was a time that Manchester City were sitting in what is the equivalent now of League One. Before, obviously, the money came in. Obviously, they changed then obviously, after that was kind of the catalyst, wasn't it, for the old FFP coming in and all of that. So they were, if you like, the last of the big spenders, the last that were allowed to do such a thing. That being said, I don't know if I trust our owners to, sort of spend £1 billion and get it right.
13 seasons you had in there, so it was a good old run. But again, before we move on, and I've got to bring him in, it's only fair. But
do you have to?
What's your saying that?
It's a Derby fan,
yeah? You, Steve? Where can people find you?
They can find me. So I don't have as much time as you guys, unfortunately. So obviously, I'm in my part time. I do what Mr. Housey does as well. So I've been down to Poole a couple of times. But yeah, so like I say, I don't have time to sort of do channels or anything, but I do sort of keep dabs in, watch things like this, and do this now and again with you guys.
Brilliant. Well, it's nice to have you along. And here we go. Here we go. I mean, before we bring him in, I've only spoken to him for 2 minutes, but the True Red here says we aren't rivals with Leicester. We beat you in the FA Cup 4-1. Yeah, thanks for reminding us. So class us as whatever. Goes on to say Leicester got battered 4-1 away. Okay. He does say, though, Tim Murphy says he's only here for the door. Well, favourites to be shown the exit door, if anything, this season, I believe. Mr. Dort, welcome along. Welcome back to the Premier League.
Why was our last one? Come out.
I don't know. It was pure luck.
You need to show some respect to the badge. Show some respect to the badge. I'm here.
Is that the Derby badge, Chris? Is that the Derby badge?
Oh, listen to me.
I don't know. It should be done half math because it's been chopped so often.
I've come in. This is my first time on this show, and now I feel like I need to take advantage of this. What's going on, people? What is going on?
Well, let's say it. Yeah, welcome back, first of all, to the Premier League. Been a while. It's a tough journey back up here. We've been down where you have as well. I'd like to say it's nice to welcome you back, but let's be honest, we were talking before, you don't really see Leicester as rivals, do you?
Nah, they're just like when someone's waving across the road, like waving, and they want to be, let's be friends. I'm like, nah, but just like, nah, just carry on walking.
We have the same feeling about Nottingham Forest, but it's usually if you're like up a mountain and they're 50 feet below us because we keep looking down the tables at you. The
problem with Leicester, right? That like, look at Derby County, and I don't. Let's second. I don't want Derby to liquidate. Let me put that clear. No. If Leicester liquidated, will people bother? Like they were like, oh, okay.
See how.
Okay.
You're endearing yourself to the fans here, aren't you, Mr. Dorr?
Yeah, they were like, okay. See ya.
Well, I mean, I did say you are favourites to go down.
Don't talk stupid. Why are you talking? What have you been drinking?
No, well, I'm not sure which site it was, but you're certainly up at one of the favourites to go down, if not the favourite.
We're not the.
Norwich, Nottingham Forest, they both start with an N. It's written in the stars.
Listen to me. Where have you heard that rubbish from? Come on, man. I know there's some Forest fans watching this. Forest fans, help me, man. I'm not getting abused from this Leicester fan. Come on, help me out.
I kind of. Are you reading from Norwich City's script? Because this is what they were saying this time last season.
It's just like with Norwich. I don't care about Norwich. I don't care about Norwich. Simple like.
You see, even the true red here says relegation prediction. You see, there you go. Your own fans are saying it.
It's all nonsense, man. It's all even Craig knows nonsense.
Anyway, where can people if people want to find you, if only to abuse you, I suppose? Where can people find
Anyone can come into my channel and abuse me if they want. Come at me. I'm Dora on tour. I do Forest content, home and away, reviews, podcasts, the lot. So if you want to subscribe, go subscribe here. Dora on tour. I interview ex-Forest players as well. Rival fans, and go on, make sure you do subscribe to my channel, please.
Well done. All the links are below, so you will be able to sort of check that afterwards if you didn't get a chance to write them down. So we're going to look. I tell you what, as soon as you was moaned about being the last one in, I suppose we're going to have to talk about Nottingham Forest first. At least that way we'll get it out of the way.
Show some respect to my club.
Do you know the best thing about Nottingham Forest is they've got Hooters there?
Leave that out. Listen, right, people.
That's the best part of it.
Let me before we do start, Craig knows me about a Hooters.
Yes, I do. Yes,
2 or 3 years ago. So when Bournemouth come to Nottingham, Craig, you better put Hooters because you said this is what you said. You'll pay for me and my mates. That's what you said. So get your purse out for me, yeah.
Stephen, you and me, we'll just take a seat and get the popcorn.
I'm enjoying it. I'm watching it.
Well, I suppose with what Hooters are well known for, that's the only cups Forest are going to get this season.
We won more cups than you. We won more cups than you. That's all it matters. Yes.
We will see.
Listen to right. Let's clarify this. If you went on holiday and someone says, "Oh, who are Leicester?" Gary Lineker. That's all they're famous for. Great. Right, come on, boys. Stick me off this one. If you went on holiday and someone said to you, who's Leicester City? Walker's Chris.
Yeah, but if they saw your
former Premier League champions.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
Walker's Chris, how far are you going back? We haven't been
Walker's
sponsored
Chris,
by them.
Man. Come on, man.
You know, I tell you.
Come on. Walker's Chris. That's what you're famous for. That's what you're famous for. Come on.
There you go. I told you I could mute him, didn't I?
Yeah.
Anyway, you get a word in. Can you say that if you were out and about and you saw that shirt, you think Liverpool, wouldn't you? Let's be honest.
Chris, coincidentally, what's the shirt sponsor on your Leicester shirt?
And this is an old shirt.
Yeah, but what's the sponsor on it?
I don't know. I can't see. It's below the camera.
Is it a bit of a crisp situation going on here? Oh,
Yes,
hello.
it might be. It might be.
Am I off mute? Am I off mute yet?
Have I got sorry?
Oh, I thought it was on mute.
No, yes, I told you off ages ago. Just never told you because it kept you quiet.
Listen to me, right? you lot are only famous for Walker's Chris. That's all you lot are famous for.
Well, you're famous for Brian Clough, I suppose. And
yeah, what did you do? What did you do?
Yeah, and fair enough. But that was so much in the past. You know, it was like
we've got a history.
His dust covered now. All
we've
those,
got a history. That's the difference. We've got a history.
Have you? I'll tell you what. Let's do Forest first and get them out of the way.
Nah, man, put me. Oh, the legend himself.
No. You moaned. Never let it be said that I don't listen to my guests. Tell us. I mean, oh God, this is hurting me so much. But you've got a good manager there. Tell us about how good you think he is.
What can I say? Like, he came to Forest, bottom of the league, no hope, nothing. And look, we're back in the Premier League. And as Forest fans thought, not another manager, it's going to happen again. But what can I say? He's a legend. And I don't understand why he didn't get manager of the year. But I don't think it was Klopp who got it. And yeah, just I'm still baffled like we're still in the Premier League after what happened. Like I said, a decent FA Cup run would be who would we beat? Would be Arsenal. Would beat that team. We'd nearly beat Liverpool. And it was just it's unbelievable what he's done from, like I said, especially away from home because. Under Chris Hootem was awful. It was absolutely awful. And I'm not only mentioning Hootem, like the past managers we had. Like we nearly got there with Paul Hart, Billy Davis, Sambi Limucci, and to Steve Cooper to come to the club, rock bottom, worst history in I think it's 107 years, and to be talking about Forest in the Premier League under Steve Cooper. It still hasn't sunk in.
And I think he's done a fantastic job from where you were in one season to bring up, all the way up. Because, I mean, your previous sort of seasons before that, I mean, you're going to go back to like 10, 11 when you were in the playoffs then. Other than that, it's been sort of a steady sort of anything between 7th and, 14th or something, and he's done a really good job. I suppose the next question is, can you keep hold of him?
Why not? I know in this time of day, like the Premier League, it's one of the best leagues in the world. And if, I don't know, 3 or 4 defeats in a row or 5 defeats in a row, football is always saying, sack him. So if we didn't get promoted, I personally think like some of the clubs, I won't say top 6 teams, like the mid-table teams would have wanted him. So now he's in the Premier League. He can do his own thing. He can get a pre-season underway, get his own players in that he wants. Hopefully that he can do the job for Forest. Like I said, I don't think that when we'll talk about it later. I personally think we've got a good chance of doing well in this league.
Well, really, I mean, you did beat us.
What was the score?
I can't remember that much.
What was the score?
And you beat
people in the comments. What was the score? I forgot.
If you think they're going to get shown, you got another thing coming. I mean, True Red says he didn't even want Steve Cooper in the first place. He wanted Eddie Howe, and we'll come on to Eddie later.
I'm gonna lie. I wanted Eddie Howe. I wanted Eddie Howe because Eddie Howe had a great record with Bournemouth, and I wanted him. But Steve Cooper's come in, and you know what? The rest is history.
It is, and as I was just saying before, there, looking at your recent, there was no sort of when it was 2019, you got relegated. Oh, hang on. That's Bournemouth I'm looking at. I just promoted you early then. It's been a while. I mean, do you think, and I'm going back quite a bit now, but in that last season when you went down, had you held on to Brian Clough a bit too long, do you think? Should he have maybe gone season or two before?
No. Oh, I don't know why I would say that. Brian Clough, as everyone knows, legend.
No, don't get me wrong. He absolutely did fantastic.
Yeah, when Brian Clough left, like we got another legend in Frank Clark. He got us into the UEFA Cup. I think we finished third in the Premier League as well. So yeah, I think that game with Frank Clark, with Dave Bassett, got promoted in the 97-98 season, and that I don't want to talk about that team, but since then it's been awful.
Yeah.
Shocking.
What players should we be looking out for that are going to cause sort of Premier League teams a concern?
I'm going to talk about him. We're going to talk about Brennan Johnson. He's been fantastic for Forest. Got told by Chris Hughton that he wasn't good enough for the Championship. And look at him. Was it 19 goals or 20 goals? Welsh international, got to the World Cup, Young Player of the Year. And as I say, Chris Hughton said he was good enough. So that's the player that has been fantastic for Forest. I can mention, I can talk about loads of Forest players since Steve Cooper's come in. Like we can talk about Spence, he's on loan from Middlesbrough. What a player! Now everyone's after him, and then we can talk about Ryan Yates as well. He's been everyone's. I think 2 or 3 years ago, everyone was hammering him. Everyone, and since then, I love Ryan Yates, and 9 goals from midfield. You talk about players who's coming in January, like the man himself, centre back Steve Cook, Bournemouth legend. And
do you know what? I was absolutely gutted when Cookie left the club because.
Listen to me, right? Since he's come in, I said to you on your channel, he's a leader. We always wanted a leader, and I think if we didn't have him, if we didn't get him in January, I don't think Forest would have gone up. I really don't think we would have gone up. But he was a fantastic signing for Forest, and as well, we've got players like Davis. As well, we've got a loan from Aston Villa. We've got Sturridge from Stoke. These players, Forest said, well, why are we getting them for? And look at them.
Yeah.
Part of a team that Forest got promoted to Premier League, and there's so many players that I could just keep on talking about. And yeah, it's just.
Well, one player I want to ask you about. He's already been linked with moving away. Is your goalkeeper? And True Red saying, Dor, what are your thoughts on being linked with Nick Pope as replacement?
The situation with Sambo, and this is my opinion about Sambo. And I'll talk about it on Monday on the channel. Sambo's a fantastic keeper. Let's get it real. He's a fantastic keeper. I know he's one of the lowest wages at the club. Does he deserve a better deal? Why not? But as all football fans know, players come and go. Players come and go at each club. So would I be gutted if he leaves? Yes. But if we link with Pope, me personally, I think he's 30 years old. He's got Premiership experience. Why would you want to moan if a better keeper comes in? I don't see that.
Yeah. He is a good keeper.
He's a good goalkeeper, but we're in the Premier League now. We're not in the Championship no more. So if we get Pope, I think it'd be good for us. If somebody leaves, I'll be gutted, but we move on. We're a Premier League club now, and that's what we need. All as Forest fans need to get used to now. So but yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to it. Like if we get Pope, excellent.
We're going to have a look at all your owners, and I must admit, I didn't realise who owned you. Evangel Marinol, is it pronounced? I'm useless.
Evangel Marinakis.
Yeah. Tell us about him. You know, my memories of an owner at Nottingham Forest of that somebody was changing your manager almost as often as Watford.
Bloody hell. he brought us in 2017, and he owns Olympiacos as well. He spent a lot of money, and the manager he brought in, like I said, the first one I think was who's that QPR manager? I forgot his name now.
Who's the which manager?
QPR manager just left.
Oh, I don't know.
Warburton.
Well, that's it. Warburton hired him first, and then he was I don't know who it was. He was hiring. He brought in Sabi Libucci, and everyone knows what happened there. And then he didn't give with the Chris Hughton situation. Like, I'm happy that he didn't give much money to Hughton, if I'm honest, because Hughton, as everyone knows, Hughton wasn't that great. But the behind the scenes, it wasn't right. And we brought in Dave Murphy from Barnsley, the CEO. Then he brought in Steve Cooper. So with Marinakis, like I said, he spent loads of money. He spent so much money, and he said that he had a 5-year plan to get Forest in the Premier League, and now we are in the Premier League. So you've got to give Marinakis some praise.
Yeah,
I've met him as well, and he wants, like, everyone knows Olympiacos is his first baby.
Yeah,
like I said, that's his club. He wants to do Forest well. Like I said, he knows the history about Forest and that. So, as a Forest fan, we've got money to spend, and hopefully we can do the right things in the Premier League. So hopefully, as far as Marinakis has been, he's been good, but now we need to do better. Now we're in the top league.
I've just got to say, Rennie, I think, when we play Forest, we want to be 10-0 because we already hold the record at 9-0 away from home. So we're just waiting for the 10-0. So we might
let me tell you this right. We've already battered you 4-1.
One game.
We've completely battered you. I'm going to bat you again.
One game. We will see.
Bat you again.
I've no doubt we will talk when the games are, and it'll be interesting next week.
We'll beat you. Listen to me. We'll beat you like at Walker's Chris Stadium, and then we'll beat LCL again.
Terry's saying here, are you going to upgrade your stadium for proper Premier League standards?
Right. Let me say something about these Terry. Listen, Terry. Right. We beat you 4-1.
Keep going back to that.
But that's what we've got to do. Where let's fans want to pipe up and talk about blah 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 blah. Shut up. Listen to me, right? We're in the Premier League. We'll beat you again. We'll go to Walker's Stadium and we'll beat you. And we'll beat you there. So let's fans stop piping down. We're coming for you lot again.
Yeah, do you know what? Spurs are coming for us, and we're still waiting for them. But maybe one day it will happen. Who knows? Unfortunately, what a shame. We've got to move on from Nottingham Forest. No doubt.
Put some respect to the name. Respect to the name.
We'll pick you up later. Coming on to Fulham with a familiar face there, Stephen. How's your manager? Obviously, he's got you promoted. You're happy with him. Not got the best of record in the Premier League, though.
I might shock some people. I'm still not 100% convinced, and the reason I say that, and the guys that we played this season, obviously with Bournemouth and Forest, might back me up on this one. We don't seem to always have that plan B. So for example, when we went behind against Forest, that goal was a bit horrendous, but we didn't really seem to have anything to come back with. Does that make sense? Just seemed a bit toothless. Yeah, we had some chances we could have taken, but generally the way we've been playing this season, we just didn't seem to. I knew we weren't going to come back into the game basically when we went 1-0 down, and so that's why I'm not convinced. I mean, in the Premier League, you're going to have a plan B and possibly even a plan C. So I don't want to sound like all completely negative, because Silver Ball is better than Parker Ball, but yeah, I'm still not 100% convinced, but we'll wait to see what the club do this season, getting them in. It depends what sort of players we're getting as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
We spoke about before we came live about your seasons, and I mean, they're not all on there, but people forget that. I think I said it was 13 seasons. Was it you were in the Premier League?
Yeah, big 13 seasons, and if I'm honest, we probably should have stayed longer. But just a bit of a calamity with the change in ownership. Taking time to bed in, and I think what the owners found was a lot of people were saying at the time, it's not NFL, in the NFL you don't get relegated, whereas obviously in the Premier League you do. And I think that adjustment just maybe came at the wrong time. We weren't quite set enough to make that change, and by the time the owners found the sort of changes that were needed, well, it was too late, really.
Do you think, as a club, that you've learnt from last time you were up? Because you came up, and it's funny because I'm very, very critical of sort of Watford for how often they change the manager, but Norwich for sort of not making an attempt to try and stay up. But last time you were up, you spent a hell of a lot of money, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about the 100 million, and for me, it's not how much you spend. You can spend 50 million, you can spend 100 million, you can spend 200 million, but it's what you spend it on. If you're spending 100 million, no disrespect, you're spending 100 million on Steve Cook, just one player. He isn't going to keep you in the Premier League. But if you're spending 100 million on players that are proven, let's say 20 million here, 15 million there, 10 million there, they're going to keep you up, aren't they? So I think it is how you spend the money. It's not what you spend, it's how you spend it. And we, with our owners, we could probably spend £1 billion on the first year, and we probably still got relegated because we weren't savvy to the players that we need. So I'm hoping that's going to change. Some of the names we've been linked with this year, are sort of promising. You got Strakosha on a freebie. A lot of the jury's out on him. I'm quite a big fan of him, to be fair. You've got talk of Moreno coming in at left back, William Carvalho as well, players like that. So I mean, if we can get at least one of these through the door early, then this is good. This is going to obviously look at players like Ericsson at Brentford. Now Ericsson's gone there, people are probably going to look more at Brentford and say, "Oh, he's gone there and done well for them." Up the pecking order. It's like you just need that first signing through the door. Once we get that in, there's a decent chance.
I want to talk about Mitrovic. He seems reminds me a bit of Adi Akinbaye that was
Mardy.
God, there's a noise coming from somewhere. I don't know what it is. I put them that poison down, but I think the rats are still coming back. But I want to talk about Mitrovic because he does it in the Championship.
Here we go.
He came up,
Here we go.
He didn't. Is it going to be different this time?
Right. Finally, Don Goodman towards the end of the season on Sky has clicked on to everything I have been saying for months, and if not going into years. Mitrovic, the first season we were up and we were a dire side. Let's make no mistake about it. We were a dire side. He was the second striker to double figures that season, and he was being played. Then the second season was under Parker, and the majority of his appearances was a substitute. He was lacking confidence. He was overweight. He's not in the shape he was this season. He's overweight, lacking confidence, and Parker barely played him. Parker would play Ivan Cavallero up front instead of Mitrovic. You put Mitrovic in a top Premier League team, what's he going to do for you? He'll score goals. You put him in a Man City team, he'll score goals. You put him in a Liverpool team, give him chances, he'll score goals. It's just what it is. It's how he's managed.
You're hoping for a lot from him then. This
well, we need a second option. Obviously, Mitrovic isn't just going to be able to do it on his own this year. He might even pick up an injury this year. We're going to need to get maybe not a similar striker, but we're going to need to get another quality striker for the Premier League standard to be able to compete this year. At least, we're staying up and sort of maybe bottom half, hopefully maybe sort of Brentford area. But again, with Fulham, we could finish 20th. We could finish sort of bottom of the top half, top of the bottom half, a bit like Leeds, it really depends what we do this summer as well.
Yeah. And someone I've spoken to Emilio about this last season. Ademola Lookman. We've had him on loan all season. You had him on loan. We love him at Leicester, but we're waiting to see, whether we actually make a move for him or not. I mean, I know he got injured, so he didn't play the full season. But were you impressed with him?
Yeah, so I was impressed with Lookman's everything up till sort of, the guy, and this wasn't just him, it was just a fault throughout the team for that whole season, the last time we went down. But Lookman just, let's be honest, he couldn't hit a barn door. He would get the chances, get in really good positions, and credit him, but he couldn't finish half the time. And that was the problem. But that was going through the whole squad that season. If he could finish, maybe we'd even had a chance to stay up, because some of the chances he could have had that time, along with other players, would have got us extra points in games. But again, it's fine lines. It's a Premier League. It's fine lines, and it's not the Championship anymore. If we had the opportunity to sign Lookman this summer for whatever reason, I would take him back, because it'd be a different animal under Silva.
Yes, yeah. And finally, this guy. I mean, I don't know whether he's still got plans to buy Wembley or not, but talk to me. If anything else, he's got to win Moustache Wearer of the Year, hasn't he? He's got the best moustache in the Football League.
He's got a better moustache than I've got, anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I think he's starting to learn after several years, and he's starting to learn how it all works. And I think, from what I understand on the grapevine, that he's sort of pushing his son Tony, who does his AEW wrestling, a little bit to one side. So and I think that's evident. It might be unfair to say, it might be completely incorrect, but I think we're seeing evidence of that. Sort of this season just gone, and now that maybe Tony's taken a back seat with his wrestling. Still involved a little bit. But the owners sort of probably turned around and said, "Look, son, I need to get people on board that know their stuff a bit more." And Tony Khan has got all and Show, they've got all the best intentions in the world, but I think they're realising now that they have to have football people involved, because sometimes the likes of us guys on here are sitting here with opinions that are better. Does that make sense? We could do the job better. We're more qualified, but yet we're obviously not owners, and we're not sat in that position.
No. Oh, we're all managers and owners, aren't we?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we can all do it better, and that's probably unfair as well, because these guys, work their backsides off, they work their asses off day in, day out. But maybe that's because they do it too much. Delegate, like any manager, delegate.
Yes. He sat there patiently, and I do apologise, but Mr. Dorr I had to take him first just to keep him quiet.
Don't worry about it. It's we're the team that Forest didn't beat.
I love you even more now. Craig,
I thought we were friends, Craig.
We are, Mr. Dorr, but still, you didn't beat us. You said, "We're coming for you, Bournemouth. We're coming for you."
Right. Before you didn't. Craig, Craig, listen to me, right. When we played you lot, the first half, and we had two blatant penalties. Where's it gone?
That's all right. You carry on. Go on. You had two blatant penalties.
No, I was going to need you two to have a discussion.
We had two penalties, and we should have had them. So don't give me that nonsense, Craig.
What rubbish! What rubbish!
What? We had penalties.
You, mate.
I tell you what, this is going to be a long season, isn't it? What you guys are saying about Mr. Dorr.
If we had that penalty, we would have won that game. But credit to Bournemouth, they're back to the second half. Well, it is what it is. I'm here now, so you can't say nothing.
Well, at the end of the day, you're only here so we can send you back down, so don't worry.
I love this man.
No, we have some good bands, Mr. Dorr and me. So, yeah.
I'd say the check's in the post, but you can't do that these days, can you? The PayPal transfer is in process. But anyway, he's a guy that we know that Fulham obviously know well. Left when he came down, came to you. I would say happy. You're happy with him. He's got you back up.
Initial start of the season, we got 40 points in 17 games. He really hit the ground running. The previous season, of course, we was under Jason Tindall and then Jonathan Woodgate. Tindall started well, but just completely lost the dressing room, it seemed. Woodgate picked it back up, didn't manage to get us through the playoffs. But Parker, what he did at the start was he bought in, and he had to really because of the amount of injuries we had. He bought in a lot of the youngsters, so the likes of Jaden Anthony, Jordan Zamora, and he made them into a team. The first game of the season, we drew 2-2 against West Bromwich Albion, and it just snowballed from there. And we was on such a good run of form. The youngsters were outperforming themselves. David Brooks was brilliant at the start of the season, unfortunately, and luckily, and I'm delighted to say that he's got the all clear for his cancer diagnosis.
So, yeah, of course. We're pleased on that, yeah.
But he started very, very well. We got beat by Preston, and to be honest, we always seem to get beat by Preston. Preston are our bogey side, and the wheels fell off. And we did have the same questions that Stephen mentioned there, Chris. Does he have a plan B? And it was looking for a long period of time that he didn't. We slowly slipped back. At one point, even dropped into the playoff places, managed to get back up in there. And we found out, in January, what his plan B was. And that was Kiefer Moore. Now, we had to wait because he was injured. But towards the end of the season, what Scott Parker did with Kiefer Moore was phenomenal. Bringing him off the bench, of course, in that fantastic game against Nottingham Forest that Dor will remember with, fondness, I'm sure. A great worked ball.
That's another tick for Bournemouth. Yeah.
Kiefer Moore's not the fastest, but he offers something a little bit different to what Solanke does. One thing I will mention when we talk about our top players as well, is Solanke, and compare him against another striker in the Championship, and of course now the Premier League as well. But he brings players in, and he was phenomenal. But so I think Parker, I'm happy with him now. At one stage, I would say after the Reading draw, after the Peterborough draw, I had serious questions because against Reading, we should have been 5-0 up. Reading were crap, put nicely. And then he made a tactical move, and it just didn't make any sense whatsoever. We ended up drawing 1-1. Could have got beat by him. Went behind against Peterborough. But
welcome to our world, mate. We've had that all last season.
But he come up trumps in the end, and if you look at the games against the top 6, we had the best record out of all of them.
Yes, yeah. And looking there, I mean, that's your league history. I mean, we touched on it before we came live. Like I said, I think I said, when I first came down to the South Coast, I can remember, players collecting money with buckets outside different buildings and what have you, pavilion or whatever it was. And, where you came from, I kind of lived the story with you because obviously I was following it, having moved down here. And you got to the Premier League. Obviously, it was, as you said earlier, it was the season we won it. It was a fantastic story. And for me, I know Claudio got Manager of the Year, but, if it wasn't for Leicester, I think, Eddie Howe would have done that season.
Yeah, I think so. And Eddie was phenomenal. He was the first man in. I know quite a bit about Eddie Howe. I've met him on a number of occasions. He was the first man in to Dean Court. He was the last man out. He breathed the football team. He made sure he knew what everybody was doing. Everything was in so much sync. Jason Tyndall was fantastic assistant manager to Eddie. And of course, they joined. It was the 31st of December, 2008. They got the job. Of course, we were in dire straits. Managed to get us out of League Two, got us into League One. We had a couple of seasons where in there when Eddie left to go to Burnley. Of course, under Paul Groves, we was terrible. Lee Bradbury, we got to the playoff semi-final, got beat by Huddersfield, who eventually went on to win it against Swindon. And then he come back, and it was like he'd never been away. But the good thing, and what that picture shows there, and our rise up into the Championship and the Premier League, was a case that he bought in players. So the likes of Mark Pugh, who was at Hereford. You had Harry Arter, who Forest fans will also know. He was signed for 40 grand from Woking. Steve Cook wasn't favoured by by Groves. He come in under Eddie Howe. It was a game against Scunthorpe, I believe, if memory serves me right, and was present ever since. Simon Francis, another one. So there's all these players that he put together to build into this side that got us to the Premier League, and not just that, actually kept us there.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember. I've watched. There's a video on YouTube which basically tells the story of
minus 17.
Yeah, and you were a nod away from going out of business.
If we had got relegated that season, and Steve Fletcher, who is a legend at this club, a lovely man, he's still well ingrained with all the fans. He'll always answer people. I did an interview with him as well, so that's well worth watching, because he goes through that whole story and how he actually come back, how Eddie convinced him. He was at Crawley Town in non-league.
Yeah.
If he hadn't scored that goal, AFC Bournemouth wouldn't exist. It wouldn't exist. It would be dead and buried. We had that season. There was bailiffs coming to the ground. They were taking all the stock out of the club shop. Jeff Mostyn had to fight to get it all back. It's a remarkable story.
On that show, and I don't know how true it was, Gerald Krasner, who was obviously the liquidator, whatever they call them, was sat live on TV deciding whether to save you or not. And he said to Jeff Mostyn, if I look up, that's your cue. You either nod or shake your head. If you shake your head, I shut the club down. If you nod it out, we'll carry on. And that's how close, I believe, you were literally to going out of business.
Yeah, and it's a true story. It's a true story. Jeff Mostyn has done a hell of a lot for this football club. And what he did was he put his house on the line to save this football club. And nobody can begrudge him for getting that back, considering our rise, because we wouldn't exist. We strengthened in the Premier League, and of course when we come back down to the Championship, unfortunately, under Tyndall is a lot better assistant manager than he is a manager. But we had a phenomenal squad. We had Arnaut Danjuma, and of course a lot of the players that are still there. Yes, yeah.
Talking of players, talk me through some of your best ones. Who should we be looking out for?
So the first one, I mentioned him a minute ago, and here's a little bit of a debate for everybody. Who is better, Dominic Solanke or Alexander Mitrovic?
Ooh, okay.
Is it a comparison?
To be honest, I would say no.
Arguably, they do similar things at times, but arguably they're two different players.
Mitrovic is better.
Certainly.
Mitrovic is better.
I disagree with that. I think Solanke actually builds players in. He's not greedy. He'll make a pass back. He's all around that box. He'll make a pass back to somebody like Jefferson Lerma, Philip Billing, who will then put the ball in the back of the net. Yes, he's not as prolific as Mitrovic, but at the same time, what he creates around that box, nobody can actually, nobody can.
Have you, Chris? Not Chris. Craig, have you watched Mitrovic this season?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
he does a lot more than what you've described Solanke as doing. He does exactly the same, and he's been tracking back this year as well.
The thing, can I say something as a neutral fan? They're both good strikers.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the Premier, when it comes to the Premier League, Mitrovic is more proven than Slanky. How much did Slanky cost? Was it 25 million, 25 million? Or no, 18?
Yeah,
18 million.
18. Yeah,
Mitrovic,
something around there.
Mitrovic, I think he's more proven than Slanky. Slanky needs to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Slanky needs to do more because when Bournemouth signed him, I thought, that's a good buy. When the board, I thought, yes, good buy. But what did he do in the Premier League?
To be honest, I think he was still learning his trade.
Yeah.
He was still behind Josh King and Callum Wilson. So he's a bit part player the last time we were in the Premier League. However, the first season in the Championship, we did question, is he going to actually get, 20 goals a season? Of course, he built himself up. You could see the gradual progress he was making. And last season, he was fantastic. He created so much.
He's a Marley like when he played against Forest. Him and Mitrovic, both Marley strikers. Marley.
But one thing I will agree with Chris on there is with regards to Mitrovic, Parker didn't give him the opportunity that he should have got in the Premier League the last time round. And that kind of does worry me a little bit about Parker and, what he might do. But, whether or not he's going to think, right, we're being linked with Ben Brereton Diaz, a very, very good player. But, again, is that going to be an option? But we've got loads of quality. We've got Philip Billing, Jefferson Lerma in the centre, Lewis Cook. That central midfield position is probably our strongest. Got Ryan Christie on the wing. Jaden Anthony, young player. I don't know if he's really ready at the moment for the Premier League. I think maybe we need to look at strengthening there. But the one player to look out for is Jordan Zamora. Jordan Zamora is a fantastic player. I would not be surprised if one of the top 6 do go in for him at some point.
Craig, can I ask you a question on Mitrovic as well? Just your opinion on Parker? What must have Parker been thinking to stick Mitrovic on a bench and play a winger as a centre forward all season? That's Sunday League stupidity. I've got to be honest with you now. That is Sunday League stupidity. You wouldn't even get a Sunday League manager doing that.
And to be honest, that is one of the concerns about Parker is that, in some of the games, like I was referred back to that Reading game, he made a tactical change that just didn't make any sense whatsoever. He messed around with our midfield, which was our strongest position. It had complete control over that Reading midfield. Reading weren't particularly very good side. And, really what we should have, he should have left it as it was. And I just don't understand why he did that. And that is a concern. That is a concern that, because if we do that in the Premier League, we could be in dire straits.
Fine margins.
Yeah.
Talking, this is going to be an interesting point for me. Maxim Denim, I believe, who's got a place down at Sandbanks. That's the rough end. That's the rough end of Paul, isn't
I'm just out the road from here. It's lovely.
So your address is wherever it is near Sandbanks, But he's Russian, as you can see, I've put there, and it wasn't a problem, in the Championship. We all know what happens to Russian owners in the Premier League. Does that worry you at all?
I know quite a bit about Maxim's background. And Maxim's money is all self-made. It's a completely different situation to what you would have had with Abramovich. So it's all self-made. He's into property development. He's a silent owner, to be fair. The people that do head up the side and all the backroom staff are Neil Blake and Jeff Mostyn, and they do a really, really good job. You got Richard Hughes as well, who's fantastic in the transfer market. But Maxim doesn't really get involved that much. He does put up the funds. He's quite a generous owner, which you have to be really for a team that have got a stadium that is 11,000. He's a very generous owner, but he does trust both Blake and Mostyn, and the club's been ran very, very well by him. And just to actually mention, one of our actual strategies is that we will bring in a young player, we'll develop them, and then we'll sell them on. So, for example, Nathan Ake, we already knew Nathan Ake was a good player. However, what Eddie did was he bought him on a little bit more, sold him for a profit. Callum Wilson, another one. Jordan Zamora, and the player that Eddie's brought into the club, again, build him up. Eventually, I've got no doubt that Jordan Zamora will go for big money and we will not be able to turn it down eventually. Hopefully that's a couple of years down the line because we need him at this moment.
Yeah. We've touched on it earlier about who could be going down. And I know Mr. Dorr was sort of arguing the fact that he didn't think that Forest were in the relegation favourites. Was that right?
No.
I think that's what you said, wasn't it?
No. Let me put this in context, right? Because Bournemouth Fulham got top two positions, as we know. But the way our team is, I think we're more in the past. We started in pre-season really bad, but we've got a young, hungry side now. A young, hungry side, plus experience as well with Cook. I don't know what's happening with Colback or Grabbing. I don't know if they believe it or not. But I think we can stay up. I personally think I'm not saying that because I'm a Forest fan. I'm saying that because we've got a good side.
I mean, look, that is Sky.
We beat Fulham easy. We beat Fulham easy.
I have to cover myself by saying, of course, other betting sites are available, and once the fun stops, stop. But Bournemouth, I'm sorry, mate, this surprised me. Favourites to go down, just edging out Nottingham Forest, who are second favourites to go down.
Don't breathe the bookies, man. Look at the bookies.
Oh, I don't agree with the bookies.
5,000 to 1 for us to win the Premier League. They can get it wrong.
I don't believe the bookies. I don't believe the bookies at all,
not
man.
going to do that. And Fulham, third favourites to go down. So it's going to be a pretty short stay for all of you, according to that.
I think, to be perfectly honest, with regards to our side, they're probably putting those odds on us at the moment because of our defence. And our defence was solid last season. It was good. However, we had Nat Phillips there. He was on loan from Liverpool. And of course, we need to make that permanent signing. I think we need to sign him at whatever cost. I think we need a backup central defender as well, and that's why I thought it was such a silly move to actually sell Steve Cook, because Steve Cook would have been a perfect player to have in there, as well as Nat Phillips. We've also got to look at the right back position as well. So at the moment, I think that those odds are probably dictated by that. But you look at our midfield, I think our midfield are outstanding. Our midfield is a Premier League midfield. All the players were there the last time we was in the Premier League. Jefferson Lerma was a seasoned Premier League player. Lewis Cook was a seasoned Premier League player. Philip Billing, was okay. Yeah, he was here the season we got relegated. But again, and I'm going to open up another debate now, really. If Project Restart hadn't have happened, I think we would have stayed up because we was on a good run of form. We had drawn against Chelsea. We'd been beaten by Liverpool after going ahead as well. And then, of course, COVID kicked in and we just couldn't get ourselves starting quickly enough. Of course, we beat yourselves. We beat Everton and we drew against Spurs. But that just wasn't enough.
Can I just say, my new favourite is the Fulham fan because he hasn't actually reminded me about any times that they beat us.
I can't remember them.
All I will say is, Craig, that was a great goal that Villa just got over that line, wasn't it, that game?
Honestly, Don't remind me of that bloody Burnley game as well, because that irks me. Honestly, how you go. I thought, brilliant, we got it back to 1-1. And then because Adam Smith had been adjudged to handball it in the area, some 3 minutes beforehand. Absolute joke. That's what I'm not looking forward to in the Premier League is VAR.
Welcome to our world.
I'm more worried about VAR as well. But we don't need VAR to beat you lot anyway, so we'll be fine.
Well, you didn't beat us last time, did you?
Well, I'll tell you
Listen
what,
to me,
we're
right?
going to do now.
If we had VAR, Craig, if we had VAR against you lot, it would have been a different story. We would have got top 2. Simple.
No, you wouldn't, because you didn't beat Hull.
Listen, it would have been a different.
You didn't beat Hull.
We played a
so you would have got top 2. We would have. We would still picked you.
Listen, no. Listen, Craig. Now it's all wrong, Craig. If we beat you lot, the VAR, we would have played a stronger side against Hull.
And the award for the most modest fan of the show goes to. Tell you what,
it was a mistake now bringing me Mr. Door on, Chris.
I'm realising that. I've been making notes.
You write notes. Make sure you put a list of saying Leicester finished 20th.
Yeah, I tell you what, we're going to end up with a bit of fun now because I'll come to Stephen first. Out of Bournemouth and Forest, who do you think will survive and who do you think was likely to go down?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
I actually don't think either are going to survive.
No, you've got to pick one to go down. Oh, you picked saying they're both. Oh, you got to pick
I think they're both going to go down. I honestly think it will depend on what we do this summer as to whether we stay up. Forest, didn't you have a lot of loan players this year? I could be completely wrong. So if you do, your budget's going to be probably chewed up by replacing that. Then how do you improve your side enough to you've got to find 3 teams. You've got bit of teams around you, and you've got to find 3 teams that are worse than you at this specific second before you make signings. Can you pick 3 teams worse than you?
Yeah.
So I can't from our side. I have us within the bottom 3. Based on no more signings at the moment. Can you find 3 teams at this second that are worse than you?
Yeah.
Go on.
You too?
Yeah, potentially. But you got to find 3 teams.
I'll say Leeds, because I don't rate the manager. Brentford, don't get me wrong, Brentford are doing fantastic. Because no one spoke of Brentford staying up. But it's always
just looking, in fairness to Mr. Doyle, just looking at the betting there, above you 3, and I think any of these 4 could have gone down this. Well, I'm surprised Brentford are there. Brentford, which is a surprise, but Leeds, Southampton, Everton, they've got to really get their act together, or they're going to be in trouble.
This thing, everyone's going to say all those 3 teams will go down. That's what everyone will say. But this it's going to be a tough league because you haven't got teams like Norwich or whose other ones went down? Watford. We haven't got the teams anymore. So it's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be tough. But there's teams like Brentford.
Stephen gets the award there for how to make friends and influence people.
Transfer window's open tomorrow, guys. So it is literally what our clubs do in the transfer window. If we get some of the players we're touted to get, and Silva gets them to gel, we could probably finish comfortably, sort of 15th, 14th, 13th. But again, if we don't, and it all goes completely pear shaped again, we could finish 20th.
Yeah. Well, Stephen actually sort of jumped out of that answering that question, Craig. So let me ask you: out of the 2 teams below you there, which one do you think will stay up, and which one do you think will go down? If you've got to pick them.
I'm going to be controversial here. I think Forest will stay up over Fulham. I think Forest will stay up.
If I think I'm not muted,
Craig, I'll buy you Hooters, yeah.
Oh, that's what it's all about, is it? Hooters. It's all about.
Yeah. But my view is, I think 2 other sides will go down. And and to be honest, I got absolutely blasted by one of these sides' fans for it. The first one I think will be Southampton. I think Southampton, because they're going to struggle to attract players. They're also, the new owners don't seem to be spending as much. I'm not sure really what is going on there. So I think Southampton will go down, which, be a bit of a shame for us because, of course, it's always great. The most local side. We're miles away from everybody apart from them. And the other team, and I think this team will finish rock bottom, and it's a team that Mr. Dorr mentioned. Leeds, I just don't rate their manager. I think Calvin Phillips will be off. I think, somebody will...
He's still there. I'm surprised he's still there.
I just think that Leeds will... They've got a lot... I think Rafinha, he'll be gone. I think somebody will come in for him. I think if it was Marcelo Bielsa, I think they probably would have had a lot better chance. I don't think they would have been in the situation they were last season. I just don't believe in this Jesse March. I just don't think he's that good a manager. And it really took Brentford going down to 9 men for them to actually beat them. And to be honest, it wasn't. They weren't convincing. They weren't convincing at all.
Exactly.
Well, talking of Leeds United and Jesse March, I've just started watching Ted Lasso on the telly, and that's all about an American. I don't know if you guys have any of you guys seen it at all?
No.
It's all about, it's tongue in cheek, but it's all about an American football coach coming over to manage an English football team in the Premier League. So we'll see how that works out. I'm going to dread asking him this. Mr. Dorr, the two teams, who do you think will stay up and who do you think will go down?
Right now, like I said, Bournemouth Fulham finished top 2. Well, if them like for us, like I think as a Forest fan, I'm gonna say we're gonna stay up. Like,
but out of Fulham and Bournemouth, if one was staying up and one was going down.
Fulham.
I'll help you.
No.
Bournemouth have a better back line than we do.
They have, they have. But Fulham, I know one of the players gone to Liverpool.
Carvalho, yeah.
Yeah, he's gone to Liverpool.
Yeah.
But I still feel Fulham can stay up and Bournemouth go down because, like you mentioned, Solanke, Dembele, and all the rest of them. I don't think they can stay up.
You say about our back line actually, being strong, but of course we had Nat Phillips there. Chris Metham, I think Chris Metham will be off. I don't think he's a good fit for us in the Premier League. I don't think he was particularly brilliant the last time we was there. Don't think that Parker really rates Stacey. So we've got Adam Smith. Adam Smith is injury prone. So personally, yes, we did last season have a better back line. There's gaps and we need to sign some players. We need 2 centre backs and a right back in my eyes. Midfield, we can probably leave. If we don't get a left midfielder, it's not the end of the world. But I think we still need to find somebody to help Jadon Anthony. And I think we need a striker. So there's already, quite a few positions. But I think that back line, even though, yes, it was one of the strongest last season, we need to do something about it.
Well, if I can put my 4 pennies in, I think you all probably know who I think will go down. Forest. But relegated by Christmas with less points than Derby had. So,
wait. No, right. Let me clarify this. Like, you need to remember, I said at the start of the show, I don't care about Leicester.
Of course you don't. That's why you kept mentioning the 4-1. You just don't care
because we
about
beat you. It's facts. Is it facts? Lads, can you explain to him? It's called facts, not lies. Facts.
I'll give you another fact, Mr. Dorr.
Go on.
1-0, Kiefer Moore.
Listen to me, right? If we had VAR. If we had VAR.
Yeah, VAR.
VAR.
We beat you 1-0, Mr. Tor. We beat you 1-0.
If we had VAR, it would have been different. But
We beat you at the City
but like-
grounds.
but
you
like-
know.
He's sounding
We had
Premier League
Chris Wood
already.
in the
In fairness to him.
We had Chris
VAR
Wood in
this,
the
VAR. He's going to fit in well.
Listen to me, right?
Oh, see, I like Rennie. You know, Bournemouth 14th. You know, I'll take that all day long. I'm happy with 17th, to be honest. But you know,
you're a
14th.
Leicester fan, man. Listen to like I said. Generally, don't care about Leicester. Am I getting mad crazy about? No, I'm not bothered.
You can have Perez as well. You can have him on a free. Guys, it's been a laugh. Well, with two of you. No, it's nice to have all of you back. I wish you all the best for the season, except obviously when you play Leicester. Very briefly, let's just go through you again. And Mr. Dorr, how can people find you?
Right, my channel's called Door on Tour. You see it on here, Door on Tour. I do vlogs, home and away. I do previews, review shows. I interview ex-Nottingham Forest players as well. I interview rival fans as well on my channel. I've just reached 8K on my YouTube channel. So my next target is 9K. I want to get to 10K before the new year finishes. So if you can, please go on my channel quick and go subscribe and hit the subscribe button, please. It's a massive help. Thank you.
Brilliant. Get over there. We'll give you some banter, I'm sure, and you'll give it
Leicester
back.
haven't got banter, man. Listen to me. You haven't got no banter. I'm like this.
Forest fans follow him just to give him the banter. Mr. Dorr, I know there may be some rivalry there, but good luck, as I say, apart from when you play us. And
I can't wait. I can't wait to
get the season.
I can't wait to get my race out to Chris.
We will have a chat around the games. We'll just see, sort of, when you're bottom of the league, when we come and play you, we'll see if you're still as confident as you are now. All the best, mate. Take care. Thanks for coming on.
Take care, mate.
Cheers.
Oh, no, we're not having you two on again, I'll tell you. Steve, just remind us again where people can to find you.
So mostly you'll find me on Twitter, which will be lids84. There's no Steve on tour here, unfortunately. It's just Steve in his kitchen. But yeah, just lids84. I'll tweet a bit, but you won't get me drawn too much on refereeing decisions, unfortunately. But I might give you an honest answer, but not sort of too honest.
No, he is also a referee, guy. So you're going to be interesting with VAR questions, aren't you?
You can ask me for an honest opinion, but I'm not going to dig at anyone because I know how hard it is.
You did. No, and I've got to be honest with you. Like I said earlier, and thanks for reminding me. We had Mark Housley on earlier. I can't even say his name. Mark Housley on earlier, ex-Premier League referee, and he was honest, and he wasn't controversial. Yeah. He was very honest, and it did give me an insight into. Well, we know it's not. If we're honest, we know it's not an easy job, you know, and we may question your parentage sort of during the 90 minutes you're on the pitch, but you're humans after all. But mate, thanks a lot. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
I hope it's not you that goes down, and I hope it is Forest that go down. But there we go.
Maybe we can get Brennan Johnson. Maybe we can have Brennan Johnson on one wing and Wilson on the other. Be amazing, wouldn't it?
All the best.
Take it easy, guys.
Cheers. See you in the season. Cheers.
You saved the best till last.
And well, it's the best. Like I say, I'm so glad you are back. I mean, it's taking you so long to get back up. I was expecting you last season when when you went down. And I'm sorry, I don't want Southampton to go down because I've actually got you guys, Southampton and Brighton, that are all closer than Leicester are for a home game to us.
To be honest, I'd be gutted if they went down as well. And the thing is, it's great to have them, back as a local rival. You know, it's a friendly rivalry. And to be honest, Southampton fans, even though there is that bit of banter, they did help the club out as well during those dark days. But you know, we've got the best. You know, out of the 3 promoted teams, we had the best record against the top 6. Within the top 6, I should say. We've also, you know, had, you know, the best pedigree in the Premier League in the last 10 years. You know, staying there, finishing 9th under Eddie Howe. You know, I think, you know, I'm quietly confident. You know, I'll take 17th at this moment in time, but I'm quietly confident that I think we will be okay.
Well, after that, out of the 3, I hope you are. I'm just reading somewhere. I think it looks like Chris Kirchner has only got till Friday to prove that he can buy Derby County. He's been given till 5 o'clock on Friday to get the money in, or I don't think it goes through.
I think it's a real shame, actually, with regards to Derby. And, you know, Derby fans have been absolutely brilliant. You know, I've had loads of conversations with them. And, you know, good group of fans. Good group of fans. And I just hope it's sorted as soon as possible for them. You know, be it Kirchner, be it Mike Ashley. I know Mike Ashley is being mentioned as possibly coming back on the scene. You know, I don't think he's going to be a terrible option considering the situation they're in.
You know, at Newcastle, you know, he wasn't owning my club, but I mean, at the end of the day, they weren't in any danger of going out of business. And I don't care, and I've said this about Derby as well, and the Forest guy said it as well, Mr. Dorr, that no matter how much you have that rivalry, you'd never want to see another club go out of business. Especially, I mean, we've been out of business once. We nearly went out of business twice. You, as we said earlier, have been really close to it, and you wouldn't wish that on any other football team.
Oh, it was horrendous. And, you know, I think had we not scored that goal against Grimsby, like I mentioned it before, and also the game against Chester beforehand as well, I think, you know, it would... Well, we would have disappeared. We would have disappeared. And, you know, it's remarkable what Eddie did, what Jeff Mostyn's done, Neil Blake's done, Maxim's done. The whole club, you know, from top to bottom have been, you know, outstanding. And, you know, I'm so proud to be a Bournemouth fan. So proud to be back in the Premier League. Something that we never, ever, ever... You know, if you turned round to me back in 2011, Chris, and said that Bournemouth are going to be in the Premier League, you know, I would have said, talking absolute rubbish. But you know,
it was an amazing story. The True Red says, "Jesus Christ, this guy's acting like we're rivals, which we aren't." And it's true. It's true, True Red. We haven't been rivals for so long because you've been languishing in the third. And we went down to the 3rd tier, Leicester, and we were down there. One season, that's it. We came back up as champions. I think Forest went down to the 3rd tier, and I think they are the only side that's ever sort of won a European Cup and ended up in the 3rd tier. But, you know, Forest were down there, I think 3 seasons, was it? So, no, we've forgotten what it's like to have rivals because we are the biggest club in the East Midlands, you know, because we've been in the, you know, we've had no opposition in the Premier League. And we'll have that for one season, and then they'll go down, Forest, and be licking their wounds again for another 20-odd years till they come back up. Craig, we will speak during the season as well. Might bump into you around pool, who knows?
Most definitely.
Hey, I'll probably even see you at the game. Thank you very much. I do hope you stay up for obvious reasons. But
thank you so much.
It's great to have a club like Bournemouth back in the Premier League. Welcome back, mate, and we'll speak again during the season.
Yeah, but delighted to be back, and look forward to, you know, facing Leicester at the King Power. We're not going to call it the Walkers Stadium.
We're not like the thing was when we first built it, it was going to be called the Walkers Bowl. It's like, no, it's not the Walkers Bowl. Thank God they didn't just do that, you know. But yeah, I must admit, I have been down to Bournemouth a few times. Obviously, when you were in the Premier League, but before that, when we were both in the Championship together, and I have spent a few games in the Bournemouth end because I couldn't get Leicester tickets.
There you are, secret Bournemouth fan.
I went because I used to have a friend who was a steward there, and I was sat one game when Vardy was in the middle of getting his 11 from 11 goals, and I was actually sat behind the goal when he took the penalty, and of course he turned off left because that's where all the away fans are, and you can see there's all these sort of fans around me, and it's on Match of the Day, and as it spins round, you can just see I'm just sat there like. Because I daren't celebrate. I got like bouncers either side of me, but I thought I can't bloody celebrate, But no, it's great to have you back, and all the best. Like I say, speak to you in the season. Take care, mate.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris.
Cheers. Bye now.
Cheers.
Thanks to Craig there. Yeah, it's nice to have Bournemouth back. I need to check. I'm going to get me parking. My ex-boss lives about a 5-minute walk from the stadium, and she used to always let me park on a driveway. Hopefully she'll do the same now that they are back. Great chat. I mean, it's great to have them back, and it's great to have Forest coming back, shouting the gobs off, and we'll see how long they stay up. We've got a great debate tomorrow, 9:00. It's the Friday debate, and we'll be speaking to a fan that is glad Forest are back, so we can have the local derbies. And we'll also, on the other hand, be talking to a fan who wants them to stay back down where they belong in the second, third tier. We will see. It's not a who wins, it's a debate, but that is going to be very, very interesting tomorrow at 9:00. And don't forget, as well as everywhere else, thank you for been watching on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. We're new on Twitch. LTID TV on Twitch. Follow us on there. All the shows are going out live on there now. And if you're listening on the podcast, whichever your favorite podcast platform is, thank you so much for listening on there as well. I will see you tomorrow night at 7. Good night.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.